Back home, we are now taking you live to Cairns. The local LNP member for Leichhardt, Warren Entsch, is just introducing the Prime Minister.
Can I thank all the amazing tourism operators up here in tropical North Queensland. This is the best of the best. And it's not just the best of the best experiences when it comes to tourism in Australia, but anywhere in the world. But they're also the best of the best when it comes to how to get tourists here to Australia, how to make sure they have a great experience, and how to maximise the economic benefits of tourism while looking after our fragile environment, while respecting our Indigenous culture, and ensuring that the whole tourism ecosystem benefits and is sustainable for the future. From my own times back at Tourism Australia many years ago now, that was the reputation of TTNQ then, and it only has continued to grow in stature over time. We have done a great deal together with the tourism industry around the country, but particularly up here in tropical North Queensland. We have worked together on particularly things like the Wildlife Dome here and so many other zoos around the country to keep them in business, to keep them intact throughout the pandemic. Because even when the visitors don't come, the animals need still to be cared for. And that's the science program, it's the research program, it's the care and support for the animals. And when you go around and you talk to the staff, whether it's here at the Wildlife Dome or at the many other similar places all around the country, what you see is a passion from the staff, both to care for the animals in their care, but to also to convey the real stories about these animals, whether it's the young kids who are coming to visit or the tourists that are coming from overseas. Through the TANS program, which meant we kept the planes in the air, through the discounted airfares that we were providing, through JobKeeper, through the cash flow boost. Time and time again, we understood what was needed to keep the tourism industry as whole as it possibly could be until we could look forward to that day again when we opened the borders and we were welcoming the tourists back. Now, there is no part of Australia that has been more dependent on international tourism than here in tropical North Queensland. No part of our tourism industry is more dependent, and no part of our tourism industry has been more successful in the past in developing those markets and nurturing them and the relationships that were needed to continue to allow them to grow. And up here, the tourism industry knows how to deal with setbacks. I go back to the time of the pilot strike, and we go back to the time when the Japanese market moved on and we had to go and secure new markets. They know how to do the business up here. And that's why I am brimming with confidence about what I know is going to happen here in tropical North Queensland. It has been heartbreaking, having coming up here well before I was in Parliament, and have known Warren since well before I was in Parliament. It's been heartbreaking to see the streets and the cafes and the many operators not realising what they love to do. When people start tourism businesses, sure, they want to be successful, but it's a lifestyle choice as well. They love what they do. They love showcasing Australia, and particularly this region, to every single visitor that comes. And so during the course of the pandemic, we supported North Queensland, far North Queensland, with $10 million in supporting them to attract the domestic industry to ensure that they could keep afloat. We supported the maritime operators here by actually turning them into reef maintenance and monitoring operators. And those programs continue in the $1 billion I announced for the Great Barrier Reef with Minister Lee when I was up here with Warren just a few months ago with Jenny. And at that time, we did work through them. What do we need to do to ensure that we can get the tourists back here as soon as we open up those borders? Well, those borders are open now. And the way we need to do that is we need to convert that incredible love that visitors all around the world have for this country, and particularly here in tropical North Queensland. And so we are announcing a package of $60 million today, which will be for the next financial year and the financial year after that, because we know this is not just a one-time thing. This is going to require a dedication to building our tourism industry back up here and right across the country. So there's $60 million. But of that $60 million, a quarter of it is going directly to TTNQ, because they're at the cutting edge. They're at the leading edge of our tourism industry. And when TTNQ and tropical North Queensland more broadly is doing well, then the Australian tourism industry is doing well. They're out there selling Australia like few can, and they've got some of the best product in the country to be able to do that. And once people are captured by what is available here, I know from experience that they start looking at all the other options, whether it be in Western Australia or down in Tasmania, over at the Rock and down in Sydney and Melbourne, all the experiences that Australia has to offer. The TTNQ, they're out there right out front. And I want to make sure that they can be out there right out front as we go into this new phase. And what they'll be focusing on is converting that love of Australia into getting bums on seats on planes and getting there as soon as possible. There are two ways you market in tourism, as Ken knows and Mark knows. One is you build up awareness of Australia. Well, we know that. And then the other part of it is converting that into real business and getting people here spending money, particularly in Cairns and across far north Queensland again. So 15 million is going directly to TTNQ. And I encourage the state government to match that. It's not a condition of this funding. That 15 million's coming. Rain, hail, shine, it's coming, absolutely. But I would encourage the Queensland Government to join us in supporting TTNQ to ensure this region can get back up on its feet as quickly as they can. There's 45 million that is going into Tourism Australia, and that will be spread across 3 activities, but the main one will be exactly what TTNQ is doing, and that is working with airline partners, working with the travel agents and the wholesale operators in the international markets all around the world, and making sure they're putting great product together with a great airline package and on a great price, which means they'll get here. That's what will drive tourists to Australia again. And we need to get about it and fast. Tourism Australia has been preparing for this moment, just like TTNQ has been preparing for this moment. And we're backing them in 100% with the 15 million here and the 45 million otherwise. There'll be some further extension of the consumer marketing activities of Tourism Australia, and there'll also be a 5 million focus on business events as well. I'm confident about where tourism's going to go. I'm confident in the product that's on offer. I'm confident in the people who put that together and work in our tourism businesses every day. I'm confident about their passion for what they do, and I know that that is infectious and that people will come back to far north Queensland. They will have an awesome time, like I have had here today, and every single time I come up north. And they'll go back and they'll tell their friends and they'll tell their family, and before long we will see this absolute amazing tourism region at a global scale back realising what it was realising before the pandemic. So can I thank TTNQ in particular, and can I thank you, Ken and Mark, for working with us and to work this up. You guys have got a lot of experience, and can I thank Dan Tehan, the Tourism Minister, for his enthusiasm for this package. He would love to have been here today, but we're working on a trade deal with India at the moment. I had a great meeting with Narendra Modi last night. And that was another important market that we highlighted in our discussions last night. We want to see Indian tourists coming back here as well as the students. So exciting times, Ken, and I know our trust is well placed in you to get the job done.